Hi, this video will be of two parts. In the first part, we will build one strategy which will basically make a setup for an expiry day logic. And in the second part, we will extrapolate the same setup in order to run it on multiple different instruments and see how it works. So let's first get into the build of the setup, understand how it works, and then backtest this thing in the part one. You can skip to part two if you want to just see how it is implemented over a larger set of instruments. So let's get right into it. So the thought process that I'm aiming to build out here is basically that every expiry day. So whenever there's an expiry day, after 3 o'clock there are these instruments which are far OTM. So they could be very far away, and because of them, because of the distance from the spot of futures, the instruments would be trading at a very small premium, like 5 rupees, 10 rupees, and so on. So we will basically look forward to short these instruments. So we will look at let's say at 3 o'clock. So one, we need to check if it's an expiry day. So our first condition will be that if it's an expiry day, all right. Then we will second check if the time is 3 o'clock. So we will make sure that the time is 3 o'clock and we execute this thing only on expiry days. After this, we will then check for the instrument which is trading at a 5 rupees premium. So we will look for the instrument of Nifty, and in Nifty we will see which instrument is basically trading at 5 rupees. Now that we've got our 5 rupee instruments, we will basically short these two. So we will take the call and we will take the put, and we will short these two instruments such that we have one 5 rupee call open and we have one 5 rupee put open. Now after doing this, we will have one adjustment. Now the adjustment will basically be that if this 5 rupees basically becomes double, which means that if it becomes 10 rupees, then I will square off that instrument. So let's say I shorted my call at 5, it becomes 10, I will square off. Similarly, the same thing for put. So if I shorted my put at 5, if it becomes double, which is 10, then I will square off. So the thought process out here is that on the expiry day, after 3 o'clock, there could be either a significant move or there could be no move at all. Now, when there is no move at that time, my 5 rupee instruments, the 5 rupee call and 5 rupee put, would basically melt down and become zero. So at 325, when I exit this trade, it will basically I'll be able to collect the entire premium that I have received from you. Now, the second scenario is that suddenly the market moves. So let's say if the market suddenly makes a directional movement, in that case, I will be able to exit one of the instrument at a stop loss, and the other instrument which I had sold at 5 rupees will basically melt down to zero, and that's why even though I'm taking a stop loss on one instrument, the same loss or nearly the same loss will be covered by the other instrument, which is again quite far away. So because of this logic, even when the market doesn't stay range bound, it moves slightly, I will be able to make a no profit no loss situation. And third is the exact opposite, where let's say the market moves suddenly down. In that case, again my instrument, the put instrument, would be squared off with a stop loss, and the call would be able to save the day. So these two scenarios where the market moves out of that range on that one particular day is generally quite rare. So it wouldn't happen very regularly. So we are basically betting on the fact that after 3 o'clock on all expiry days, market stays range bound. If it moves outside our range, we will exit with a stop loss, and we will exit for that day. So this is the setup we are trying to build. Now let's see how the same has been built on Tradetron by me. So I'll first have a look at the entry conditions. Now in my entry, I have two basic conditions. One is if time is greater than 1500, that is to basically take my first entry. And second is if current week expiry is equal to today. So if today is the day, which is a Thursday, current week expiry of Nifty, then I want to exit from my trade. Quite straightforward of a code. Um, then I have my two position builders. So my position builder is again a sell position. So I'm selling a call and a put. When I'm selling a call, I will basically look at a strike which is trading at 5 rupees currently. So in order to find that strike, I will use find strike in my strike FX, and I will select my number as 5 because I want the 5 rupee strike price to be selected. Also, something very important, people make a mistake with the current week expiry part. So out here, by default, it will select current month expiry. You need to change this to current week. If you don't change it to current week, it will take a 5 rupee expiry in the monthly series, which you don't want. So with that said, we'll have a look at the put position. The put position is also pretty much the same, and the rest of the variables are standard. We are looking at a call in Nifty, current week expiry with one lot. Um, I'm doing the same thing for my put. My put is also doing the same thing. Only difference is that I'm looking at a put instrument of 5 rupees out here. Now for my adjustments, so if let's say one becomes double, I am basically having two different repair ones. So my first repair once is for my call. Um, my first repair once is for my call, and my second repair once is for my put. So these two repair ones have been set up by me. Now in my repair once condition, I'm basically adding a simple keyword called leg exit, and leg exit is basically checking for my entry condition and my first leg. So I'm looking at entry, set one, condition one, leg one, and if my first leg, which is my call leg, goes 100% above the entry price, which is the stop loss percent, in that case I will be exiting from the same. Now to exit, I have just used a simple paste exit. So I copied this uh, condition and I selected paste exit from here. Same thing for my repair once number 2, which is for my put leg. The only difference out here is that in my leg exit I've selected entry 112 as my keyword, and again stop loss percent is 100 because I wanted to double. Now my position is again the same using the paste exit, and I have a simple universal exit criteria if time is more than 325. So I could also have this at 327, 329. That would help me collect a little more premium. But on the downside, the risk that I could face by something like this would be that let's say if my strategy goes into an error for any reason, 5 minutes is generally sufficient time for me to log on and manage that error in some way. If I change this number to something like 320, 329 or 328, I would have very less time to react in case the strategy went into an error execution. If you don't know what's an error execution, I will link it in the description. You can have a look at the error execution video on the same. Um, Finally, let's have a look at the advanced settings. Advanced settings, I've selected my entry as a market price and my tranching as 100%. If you have a large quantity, I would suggest you break it down into smaller orders, because that could generally reduce a little more slippage. You can check conditions continuously on this and select your capital required. I think this would need generally around 1 to 1.5 lakh. Um, and very important, select your start condition as 1 second and last condition before exchange closes as 1 minute. So this should help you to be set. And finally, the reactivation time, I've selected 6 hours, because after the universal exit, I want this to reactivate on the next day. So finally, we'll update the strategy and we will have a look at the backtest, how the backtest has performed for the last 30 months. So I have gone to backtest, and let's now have a look at the backtest report for the same. So in the backtest report, you can see I have the same strategy, expiry test. Let's download the PDF for the report, and you can see that it has basically taken trades only on my expiry days. So these are all the expiry days of those relevant instruments. So let's now open the report and see what kind of a report it generates. So you can see that this report, from the PNL graph, you can see that there are many places where the graph is a straight line. This is mainly because the graph is made on a daily basis. So whenever this strategy basically takes trades only on Thursdays, because that's the expiry day. But whenever there is no trade, it will basically be a straight line like this, which is why you can see a very boxy shaped graph. And you can see the graph looks like a fairly stable return for the last 30 months. Um, Even the drawdown is fairly in check. Given the number of trades it is taking, a 1% drawdown looks quite fair. You can analyze this in more detail once you have once you have this strategy, you can duplicate it from the link in the description and run it on your own setup. And you could of course modify the numbers, like I have used 5 rupees as an example. You can use 10, 15, 25 and so on. So that's it in part one. In our part two, we will basically cover how you can build this exact same strategy on multiple different instruments. So we'll see how we can you can use this strategy to be converted for let's say a Nifty mid cap or a Fin Nifty or a Bank Nifty and so on. So that is up for part two. Have a look at the same. Again, link for the part two will also be available in the description. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.